A man steps off a small boat onto the sand of a low, wooded island. He has crossed an entire ocean to reach this spot, and he has been dreaming of it for 3 long, agonizing years. Somewhere ahead of him, in the settlement he helped build, are the people he left behind. His daughter and his granddaughter, a little girl he last saw as a newborn, the first English child ever born in this new world. He walks up from the shore calling out, expecting voices, smoke, the sound of life. There is nothing. The houses have been taken down. The settlement is empty. There are no bodies. No graves. No sign of a battle, no scattered belongings, nothing that speaks of panic or slaughter. There is only one thing. Carved carefully into a wooden post at the edge of the abandoned fort, a single word. Croatoan. That word is the last message the colonists of Roanoke ever left to the world. And in more than 400 years, no one has ever been able to say for certain what it meant, or what became of the people who carved it. To understand how they vanished, you have to understand why they were there at all. It was the 1580s. England was a latecomer to the race for the New World, watching Spain grow fabulously rich off its American colonies and desperate for a foothold of its own. The plan was ambitious: plant a permanent English settlement on the coast of North America, a place to live, to farm, to trade, and, not least, a base from which English ships could harry the Spanish treasure fleets. The chosen spot was a place they called Roanoke, an island off the coast of what is now North Carolina, sheltered behind a long chain of shifting barrier islands and treacherous shallows. An earlier attempt to settle there had already gone badly, ending with cold, hungry, frightened men abandoning the place and sailing home. But England tried again. In 1587, a group of around 115 men, women, and children set out to build a true colony, not a fort full of soldiers, but families, intending to stay. At their head was a man named John White, an artist, a mapmaker, and now, reluctantly, a governor. This time, they meant to put down roots. And for a brief moment, it looked like they might. Among those colonists was John White's own family, his pregnant daughter, Eleanor, and her husband. And not long after they landed, Eleanor gave birth to a daughter. They named her Virginia. Virginia Dare, the first child of English parents born on American soil. To the struggling little colony, she must have felt like a promise, proof that this could be a home, that there would be a next generation, that they were not just visitors but the beginning of something lasting. But the reality on the ground was grim. Relations with the native peoples of the region had already been poisoned by the earlier, heavy-handed English expeditions. One colonist was found killed soon after their arrival. Supplies were thin. The season for planting had been missed. The barrier islands that hid them from the Spanish also hid them from easy resupply, and the waters around them were a graveyard of hidden sandbars. The colonists understood their situation was fragile. So they made a decision that would tear the governor away from his newborn granddaughter. Someone had to go back to England to plead, in person, for the ships and supplies that would keep them alive. And the man they trusted to do it was John White himself. White did not want to leave. By his own account, he went only because the colonists insisted that he, as governor, had the best chance of securing help and bringing it back fast. Before he sailed, they agreed on a plan, a simple, vital plan that would matter more than anyone could have guessed. If the colonists ever had to leave Roanoke while he was gone, they would carve the name of their destination somewhere in plain sight. And there was one more instruction, a dark one: if they were forced to leave in distress, under attack, or in danger, they would carve a cross above the name. The cross would be the signal that something had gone terribly wrong. White sailed for England expecting to return within months. Instead, he returned to a country at war. He had arrived home just as England and Spain collided in one of the most famous conflicts in history, the year of the Spanish Armada. Every seaworthy ship was seized for the defense of the realm. There were simply no vessels to spare for a tiny, struggling colony across the ocean. White begged, schemed, and tried again and again to get back. Years slipped by. His attempts failed, were turned back, or were plundered by privateers along the way. 3 years passed before John White finally set foot on a ship that made it across the Atlantic and back to Roanoke. 3 years of imagining what was happening to his family while he was powerless to reach them. He arrived in August of 1590, and the very night he approached the island, there was a sign of hope. From the water, his men saw the light of a fire glowing through the trees. Someone, surely, was still there. But landing was a nightmare. A storm was rising. The dangerous shallows that guarded Roanoke claimed one of his boats and drowned several of his men before they even reached the shore. When White's party finally fought their way onto the island and made their way to the settlement, they found it silent. The colony was deserted. But here is the crucial detail: it did not look like a place that had been attacked. The houses had been carefully taken apart, not burned or smashed. The settlement had been surrounded by a sturdy wooden palisade, built up like a small fort, suggesting an organized, deliberate departure rather than a sudden massacre. White's own belongings, which he'd left behind, had been dug up and ruined by weather and time, meaning they'd been gone a long while. And then he saw the post. Carved into it, clear and deliberate, was that single word, Croatoan. Nearby, on a tree, the letters CRO. No cross. No distress signal. Just the name. For John White, that word was not a horror. It was hope. Because Croatoan was not a riddle. It was a place and a people. Croatoan was the name of a nearby island to the south and of the native group who lived there. Crucially, the Croatoan people were among the few who had remained friendly to the English. White had a daughter and a granddaughter out there somewhere, and the message seemed to say exactly where they had gone, not dragged off in terror, but relocated, deliberately, to the one place and the one people most likely to take them in. And the absence of the carved cross meant they had left without disaster. It must have felt like the answer. His family was alive, just a short sail away. White pleaded with the ship's crews to carry him south to Croatoan to find them. And then the sea, which had fought him every step of this journey, delivered its final cruelty. The storm that had been building broke fully. The weather turned savage, anchors were lost, and the captains, exhausted, battered, and far more interested in profitable raiding than in a rescue mission, refused to linger. They were forced back out to open water, and then, against everything in White's heart, they sailed away. John White never reached Croatoan. He never saw his daughter or his granddaughter again. He returned to England a broken man, and the colonists he'd left behind passed quietly out of living history, leaving only that one carved word. So what actually happened to them? For 4 centuries, that question has produced theory after theory. The most hopeful, and to many the most likely, is the simplest reading of the clue itself: they assimilated. Facing starvation and with no relief coming, the colonists may have split up or moved in with the friendly Croatoan people, or with other inland groups, and slowly merged into native communities, surviving, but ceasing to be a distinct English colony at all. A darker theory holds that they were killed, caught in the violence between rival native groups, or in conflict sparked by the very English expeditions that came before them. But the lack of any bodies, graves, or signs of a fight at Roanoke argues against a massacre at the settlement itself. Others believe they tried to sail for England on their own in a small craft and were lost at sea, or that they moved inland in search of better land and were scattered by disease, hunger, and time. Some accounts from years later spoke of native people in the region with grey eyes, or who could speak in a book, or of 2-story houses with brick, tantalizing hints of European blood and knowledge that had survived among the tribes. None of it was ever confirmed. And modern archaeology has only deepened the intrigue. Digs in the region have turned up English artifacts at sites away from Roanoke, including near where Croatoan once was, and at an inland location that some researchers believe points to a group of colonists who went that way. Fragments. Suggestions. Pieces of a puzzle that has never quite resolved into a picture. There's a strong logic to the idea that the colonists split into more than one group. 115 people is a lot of mouths to feed off unfamiliar land, especially with no resupply coming. It would have made sense to divide, some going to live with the friendly people of Croatoan, others striking inland toward better farmland, and other groups. If that happened, there was never one single fate to find. There were several, scattering in different directions, each one fading separately into the vast, undocumented interior. That alone could explain why no clean answer has ever surfaced, because there isn't one answer to find. There are many, and the land kept all of them. It's worth remembering, too, just how thin our record is. Almost everything we know comes from John White himself, a grieving man writing down what he saw and what he hoped. There were no other witnesses, no colonists left to interview, no documents from inside the settlement. The entire mystery rests on a deserted fort, a dismantled village, and one carved word, filtered through the account of the one man who wanted more than anyone for them to still be alive. Here is what makes Roanoke linger in the mind in a way that a simple tragedy never could. It is not a story of bodies and a battlefield. It is a story of absence, of a place wiped clean, of people who seem to have simply stepped out of history and pulled the door shut behind them. They didn't leave a cry for help. They left an address. A calm, deliberate signpost that says, "We went this way," and then the trail goes cold, swallowed by a storm, a war, and 400 years. We will probably never know for certain. The most honest answer is also the most haunting. The colonists of Roanoke most likely did not vanish into thin air at all. They walked off into the land, were taken in, and became part of a world that didn't write things down, their English blood thinning into the generations until the line between lost colonist and native neighbor simply dissolved. Not a disappearance. An absorption. Which is, in its own way, stranger and sadder than any monster or massacre. But all of that is reconstruction, built on fragments. The only thing they actually told us, the only message that survived the centuries intact, is that one word, carved carefully into a post by someone who wanted to be found. Croatoan. So tell me, down in the comments, do you think they were absorbed into the native nations, or did something darker happen on that island? And if this story pulled you in, the file on an entire army of 50,000 men that marched into the desert and was never seen again is waiting for you on screen right now.